Well, we are finally coming to the end of the major European league's domestic season, but we still have games to break down, so let's get into it. What's happening, everyone? Sam, aka FIFA Brit from Gold Boys, here today to break down the Saturday soccer slate. We've actually got a couple of cup finals going on Saturday, which is kind of exciting. The problem is that the lines on them both aren't brilliant. But that being said, let's talk about them anyway. We're going to start with the FA Cup, a Manchester derby between Man U and Man City. Now, if you like Man City, which if you are smart, you probably should, the odds are really not brilliant. If you like Man U, the odds are really nice, but picking who's going to be the guy to go off is going to be really difficult because there's a good chance that none of them do, and if they do, it's really hard to pick which one. So we'll break down the odds, I'll give you my thoughts, but I'm just letting you know right off the bat, this is going to be a tricky game to find value in, okay? So, starting on the City side, if you like Haaland, which you probably should, he was the top scorer in the Premier League, and even though he's been kind of weird in front of goal recently, he's still the main guy. And it's very difficult to bet on anyone else on City because there is always every chance that Haaland is the focal point of every attack and he takes 5 or 6 shots, especially in the first half. And then if you bet on him and he doesn't do that, you feel really stupid because you're paying plus 115 for 3 first half shots, which on paper really kind of sucks. But then if you bet on literally anyone else, Foden, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Julian Alvarez, depending on who he's starting up front with, and Haaland takes all the action, then you just feel stupid for trusting anyone that wasn't him. And so it's a really awkward situation. So Haaland for 3 first half shots, it's around plus 115. Just to put that into perspective, he was about even money to take 3 first half shots against West Ham, who City were projected to absolutely destroy, which they essentially did. The score was 3-1, but they dominated that game. Haaland had 1 shot in that first half, and it came in added time in the literally the last minute or two of the entire first half. And City took 15 to 20 shots in that first half alone. The fact that Haaland had 1 of those is just ridiculous. That was, for a single first half shot for Haaland in that game, it was about minus 1,500 or something absolutely horrific like that, and he barely got it. That's just crazy. But if you want to back somebody else, with Phil Foden 2 first half shots, you're looking at around minus 120. With De Bruyne 2 first half shots, you're looking at about plus 120. Now, if you want to get a little spicy, which if you guys know me, you know I'd like to do on several occasions, Bernardo Silva, always a good option. His odds are always nice. He's plus 400. Now, that sounds very tempting for a guy who is a fairly important part of this City attack, but for his standards, where his odds usually are, those odds aren't brilliant, especially if we have loads of shooters like De Bruyne, Foden, and Haaland, which could very easily be the other 3 attackers in this City lineup. Then they take up so much shot volume, and Bernardo Silva is such a pass-first player that those odds probably aren't worth it. That being said, if lineups come out and he's playing right wing, there's a good chance I pair him with someone on Man U for a couple of first half shots just because the odds are going to be really nice and there is every chance that does happen. So I'm letting you know, it's not something to bank on. It's something that you can be like, this is a good chance. And then you put a tiny fraction of a unit on it and you expect it to miss, but there is every chance that it does hit if the game goes the right way. So that's the City side of things. On the Man U side of things, the odds are really nice, but they're really nice for a reason. And that reason is there's a good chance that City just completely suffocate them and Man U don't do shit. But here's what we're looking at. For a single first half shot, not 2, not 3, a singular first half shot, Garnacho, minus 150. Rashford, minus 135. Diallo, minus 115. Anthony, even money, plus 100 for a single first half shot. So those odds are really nice on paper. Most casual bettors are going to look at that, see that, and be like, wow, these players love to shoot all the time. That's an easy hammer. You got to take into the context that, 1, cup finals are usually a little slower paced than normal games, and 2, it's fucking Man City. And as much as I hate Man City as an Arsenal fan, I try not to let that affect me as a gambler. I mean, I don't let that affect me as a gambler. I bet on City all the time. And there's just such a chance that Man U can't do anything against them. So we'll see. So when lineups come out, we'll take a look, we'll see what the situation is. That will give us a much better idea of who's a good player to target, and we can look at different matchups against different fullbacks and stuff like that. But on paper, this is not a brilliant game to bet. Now, my official lean for this game is a builder. It's Haaland, Foden, De Bruyne for one first half shot each, and Man City to lift the cup. That is minus 109. Now, in general, I hate any builders that are longer than 3 legs. A 4-leg builder feels really gross to me. But honestly, with the amount of shot volume that Man U give up, I find it incredibly unlikely that Haaland, De Bruyne, and Foden, that any one of those 3 players is going to blank in the first half. And I really don't see any way that Man U are able to lift this trophy. I mean, yeah, it's just going to be a City day, unfortunately. I feel like that's the best way to extract some value out of this game. I'm going to wait for lineups, even though I'm pretty sure all 3 of those players are going to start. But as a general rule, I don't really take builders before lineups, just because if somebody, for some reason, is not starting, then assuming they don't sub-injure in the first half, you get that void. You've still put like over a unit on something that's going to work out being like a minus 250 bet. To me, that's not worth it. I'll wait until lineups. I don't see the prices shifting that significantly between time of recording and an hour before kickoff when lineups drop. So that's my official lean. I will most likely lock that in when the lineups drop. And if I do, I will do my best to share that on Twitter. If you aren't following me, it is at FIFA Brit. Go and check it out. I share a load of stuff there, but as always, all of my official plays will be locked in my Discord channel in Gold Boys. Now is a fantastic time to sign up. You can do that in the link in the description. It is goldboys.com.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so, because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Gold Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Gold Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Alrighty, the next game we're going to talk about is the final of the German Cup. I believe it's called the DFB or something like that. DFB Pokal, something like that. That's why I just call it the German Cup. This is between Leverkusen and a team from outside the Bundesliga called, and I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to do my best, Kaiserslautern. Something like that. Okay, it sounded German. So if I said that wrong, I apologize. I gave it a good go. Now, if you thought the odds on City were bad in the FA Cup, the odds on Leverkusen are absolutely horrific. Their team total over 2.5 line is about minus 160. And I refuse to take an over 3.5 team total line, especially in a cup final, because those games are usually much closer, and I could see Leverkusen winning this 2-0. Maybe they get 3-0, but again, I'm not paying minus 160 3 goals. Now, Leverkusen just got their asses handed to them in the Europa League final. I don't know what Xabi Alonso was thinking, but his initial lineup was really weird. He didn't start Schick or Boniface. He was really tinkering around. He had Frimpong as a right wing instead of a right wing back. And Atalanta just tore them to shreds. Leverkusen couldn't keep any sort of possession and mount any serious attacks with it. And Atalanta just punished them. Lookman with a hat-trick, and Leverkusen looked awful. So, to be clear, I think Leverkusen are going to bounce back big time and just obliterate the ever-living shit out of this lower-tier German side. But I'm not going to play anything in this game because the odds pre-game really suck. You know, if they give me a shots market on FanDuel, maybe I look at Xhaka first half shots, because he had 2 first half shots in the FA Cup final and he was pulling up from like 30 yards out. And these shots were not that brilliant either. One was like the softest shot and got blocked, and the other one went fairly wide. So He likes to shoot, especially in big occasions, so if we get a shots tab for that game, I'll probably look at Shaq first half shots, but outside of that, the value really sucks in this game, and I'm not even going to give you an official lean because I cannot justify taking any of these prices. Like, I can talk myself into betting on Man City against Man U because Man U are going to give up a metric fuck ton of shots. I can't talk myself into betting minus 160 for an over 2.5 team total. And the player props are going to be pretty shitty as well. So, should be a fun game to watch. I'm going to enjoy watching it, but betting-wise, not a brilliant one. Next game we're going to talk about is over in La Liga. Now, unfortunately, it's the last weekend of La Liga, but there is literally nothing to play for. The title is won, the European qualification is basically over, and the relegation battle is over. So, it's just vibes at this point. So, the only game I want to look at is the Real Madrid game. They are playing against Real Betis, and I'm really kind of bummed that Isco got hurt because I was going to target Isco props hardcore in this game. If you look at the goals that Madrid concede, especially domestically, it's almost always to ex-Madrid players who are out for a vengeance, which is a lot of fun, like betting their shots, betting them to score or assist, or just their goal if they're a striker. It's a lot of fun. And it's a great way to target Madrid games because Madrid, as good as they are, can sometimes let teams that are worse than them into the game, especially if they're playing some second string guys. So that would have been a lot of fun. But sadly, he got really injured in his last game and he's going to miss the Euros, which really kind of sucks because I was really looking forward to seeing him. He's been an absolutely fantastic player this season and it's a real bummer. It's a real shame that he got hurt. That being said, that really doesn't leave us with much else to do on the Real Betis side. I don't trust anyone else on that team. It's Isco or bust for me, so it really depends on how Madrid line up, and we're going to see one of two things. Either they wheel out the starters so they can get a little bit more game time before the Champions League final, which is about a week away, or they wheel out the second string guys, like Brahim Diaz, like Arda like Joselu, even though he's very important off the bench, he's still a second string guy when it comes to starting lineups. Dani Ceballos, guys like that. If these guys come out, then I think there's value because the books usually price it as if the main starters are going to start. So then you can look at Arda on an absolutely fantastic streak right now. He's been getting a lot of starts and he's been scoring quite a few goals recently. So if he starts, I love his shots, I love his goal to score or assist, really anything like that. He's a very good player. If the main guys start, I'm looking at Vinny first half shots, I'm looking at Rodrigo first half shots because they're going to be playing up front. Jude has kind of cooled off a little bit with his goal contributions and his shooting, so he's not quite the wagon that he once was, but he's still a great player to watch. And just a heads up on Jude, next season, he's most likely going to be shifting back to center mid to make room for Mbappe in that attacking part of the lineup. So don't expect the same kind of goal or assist output that you were getting from him in the first half of the season this season. The way he's been playing more recently, kind of acting as link up in the attack, but not really providing much in the ways of direct goals or assists himself. That's how I envision him playing next year. So going to be an interesting one to see how we can bet him. But for now, when it comes to betting Madrid in this game and in the Champions League final, makes my job so much easier. It means I can focus on guys like Vinny and Rodrigo. And if I had to pick between the two of them, it's Vinny all day, every day. So if Vinny 2 first half shots is even close to even money, absolutely love that. Outside of that, let's see how Madrid line up and we can go from there. My unofficial lean for this game is Vinny 2 first half shots, but there's really no guarantee that he's going to start, so it is what it is. Well, as the European season is coming to an end, as I mentioned in my previous videos, that means we're going to be talking about Major League Soccer, aka MLS, a lot more. So we're going to talk about a couple of MLS games to round off this Saturday slate. First game I want to talk about is Atlanta against LAFC. Do not confuse them with Atalanta, they are very different clubs. Now, my official lean for this game is LAFC tie no bet. Now, if you don't know what a tie no bet is, it's like money line with insurance if there's a tie. I know Americans hate ties, but they happen a lot in soccer, So this just offers you a bit of insurance. With a tie no bet, you're paying a discount to the money line. So LAFC money line is plus 150 and their tie no bet is minus 108. Both of those are on FanDuel, by the way. But the way moneyline works is if the team wins, you win. But if they tie or they lose, your bet loses. So you get nothing if there's a tie. With tie no bet, it's essentially what it sounds like. If they win, your bet wins. If it's a tie, your bet voids and you get your money back. And if they lose, they lose. That's kind of how losing works. So I like this a lot because Atlanta have one win in their last 10 games. Their last win was in the Open Cup against Charlotte, but not Charlotte, the MLS team, Charlotte Independence, which is a USL team. So they're not in brilliant form right now, and that's putting it lightly. Their last win in the MLS was March 31st, almost 2 months ago against Chicago FC. So Atlanta look pretty shit right now, and LAFC have 4 wins in a row. Now, there's every chance this game ends in a tie because LAFC are not brilliant on the road, and relatively speaking, Atlanta are better at home. But I really expect LAFC to get the win here. But if it's a tie, you get your money back from the tie no bet, no harm, no foul. You can also use their double chance in a builder. Their double chance is like minus 250, minus 260. Those are really nice odds to put together with another double chance in a different game, or with any other prop that you like that's in the same region at minus 200. You pair those together, you've got an even money builder. That sounds very nice to me. Next game we're going to talk about is DC United against Chicago FC. DC are not in brilliant form right now, but Chicago are in absolutely horrific form right now. My lean for this game is DC moneyline at minus 140. It's a little juicy, but honestly, at home against a Chicago side that is absolutely horrible, DC really should get the win. And if Benteke starts, Benteke props for everything. Chicago are vulnerable to a lot, but they are particularly vulnerable to strikers, for goals, for shots, anything like that. Now, like I just mentioned, DC moneyline is around minus 300, minus 350 in that region. You pair that with LAFC double chance, you've got a prop that's around minus 125. That's a pretty nice builder. Now, I'm going to wait for lineups because I want to make sure the guys I like are starting. Buanga for LAFC, Benteke for DC United. If those guys are starting, brilliant. Love both of them. The last game we're going to talk about today is Toronto FC against Cincinnati FC. This is a fantastic matchup for Cincinnati, even though they are playing away from home. In the last 5 games between these two teams, Cincinnati have won 4 times and tied once. The last time that Toronto actually beat Cincinnati was all the way back in 2021, and Cincinnati have won 6 games in a row in the league this season. My official lean for this game is Cincinnati tie no bet. It is around minus 138, and even though it's a little bit juicy, I think it's worth paying with the insurance in the event of a tie. Toronto could scrape a tie here. They are playing at home and they have been doing relatively okay recently, but Cincinnati are on a whole other level right now. I fully expect them to win this game, but no reason to take the money line when the tie no bet at minus 138 is still very playable. And yeah, that's the Saturday soccer slate breakdown. As always, if you do think you have a gambling problem, don't forget to call the number 1-800-GAMBLER. And yeah, we're coming to the end of the season, guys. It's been a long road to get here, but don't worry, like I mentioned in previous videos, with the end of the domestic season, we still have stuff going on. We have the Champions League final to look forward to between Dortmund and Madrid. And once we hit the summer, we'll have a couple of weeks of chill time. We'll have some international friendlies going on, but then the Euros are going to start and the Copa America is going to start. And we're going to have MLS throughout that whole time anyway. So there's still a lot to look forward to. Stay tuned for more videos covering all of that action. If you aren't subscribed to the Gold Boys YouTube channel, go ahead, subscribe right now, and click a like button on this video while you're at it. Drop a comment, let me know what your favorite bet on Saturday is. I want to see what you guys like. It always interests me, and I love learning more about what you guys think. So go ahead, give me a comment, let me know what you like. And yeah, best of luck with your bets this Saturday. Have a good one, and I'll catch you guys next time.